you can live a life in flow where your deepest heart's desires become reality. At Set to Love, we offer strategies and ideas on how you can stay out of crazy town. See, your human experience is meant to be lived with meaning, purpose, and creativity. You are here to contribute through your essence. We are best friends, moms, entrepreneurs, and above all, find our flow in assisting you to find yours. We come together weekday mornings to bring you ideas to fall deeper in love with your life and the journey that you are on. Take what works and ditch the rest, and always stay set to love. Thank you for being a part of this community. We're all designed to live in flow. So let's go.
Good morning, our Set to Love community. Just so excited to be here this morning. Just want to tell you in advance, though, we've been having a few technical difficulties. So if Eva is in and out, that is why. We're sorry we're a couple minutes behind. Life happens, but so excited to introduce Vicki Matullo. She's a life coach and a personal development strategist, an amazing woman that has a lot of great things to tell us today, and I am just so excited. So before that, though, I'd like to say good morning to my best friend, Eva, and welcome you, Vicki. So good morning.
Good morning. Hi, Vicki.
Good morning. Good morning. Yeah. Oh my gosh, you all. I am so excited and so humbled to be invited to be on your show. It's quite an honor.
Thanks, Vicki. I've been following you on Instagram since I started my Instagram. I think you were like one of the first accounts that I started following, and you just always have such positive messaging. And I thought, I got to get this woman on the show. So thank you so much for being here today and sharing your message with us.
Oh, thank you for that. Yeah, of course. It's really important, I think, that people, especially in today and especially during COVID, that people have someplace that they can go, that they receive a positive message, that they can get a little, uplifting, some empowerment, because oftentimes we tend to be inundated with the negative. So that's kind of why I started this a long time ago.
So today's conversation is going to be achieving next steps. So I'm just curious, what does that mean, Vicki?
Yeah. Well, oftentimes, so my business is actually called Achieve Your Dreams Intuitive Coaching. But in order to get to a place where you feel like you're living a life that feels fulfilling, you really need to take it one step at a time. So I focus on achieving the next step versus achieving the whole picture. When we can get to a place, and when you take smaller pieces, you have bigger successes. And when you have bigger successes, you build your confidence, you're more reassured, you're able to move forward in whatever direction that you're going.
That's kind of like what Eva and I say, a brick a day before you know it,
Vicki, what do you think holds
exactly?
What do you think holds people back from achieving that next step, whatever it might be for them?
I think oftentimes people have a lot of fears that they don't realize, and it is disguised in everyday experiences. They find excuses why they can't do something instead of really living in the why they can do it. And sometimes life is really hard. I mean, we're dealt circumstances that we never asked for, such as divorce, or a loved one having a substance abuse problem, or, the loss of a job, or just huge major life transitions. And it's so much easier to fall into the self-defeating thoughts versus learning how to change your thought process around to, I can do this, and look at what you have ahead of you and the opportunities that are there instead of living in what you've lost.
Now, in your practice, do you have a few A to D? Do A and then B and C and you'll get there? Do you have maybe a starting point for people to achieve some of these steps if they're in a bad place, to get them out?
Well, I think the first thing that people really need to focus on is learning how to reframe their thought process. Oftentimes, our initial knee-jerk response is to say, I can't do it, or, what will so-and-so think of me if I do it, or, things like that. So I think we really need to learn how, well, actually, the first thing is I've created a new acronym that kind of follows through with self-compassion and self-love, and what I think is what you need as you're going through some of these transitions. And it's called, and it's about creating space for yourself, right? And the acronym for SPACE stands for self-compassion, self-love, and spirituality, right? You kind of just have to give yourself a break. And then the P stands for patience. Be patient with yourself. You're going through this really big, uncomfortable time. And it doesn't feel good, but know that you're going to get through it, right? And then acceptance. You have to be able to accept where you are and see things for what they really are in order to move forward. And acceptance is one of the biggest challenges. And then once you get to acceptance, the C would stand for connection. If you're feeling in a place, well, personally, I don't think we can ever do anything alone. We always have someone in our life. We just have to be open to receiving that person or seeking out support and connecting with others to be able to help keep us feeling empowered and uplifted so we don't fall back into that negative space. And then the E would stand for empowerment. What are some ways that we can keep ourselves empowered other than talking to others? Is it reading uplifting journals? Is it there's so many, is it meditation? Is it prayer? Is it staying spiritually connected? Is it going out for a run? And so having a conversation around all of these particular pieces of creating space for ourselves, I think are different ways that we can lead into the healing process. But oftentimes, when I work with someone, those are the things that we try to focus on. And so once you're able to really feel like you've created that space, then you're ready to move into the next step. And whatever that is for you. So when I'm coaching somebody, they'll let me know where they are and what they're ready. It's not necessarily what I think is best for you, because in our conversation, I'll talk to you, I'll figure out where you are, what you're thinking, how you're feeling, what you want, and then we'll go from there. And basically the individual will lead the conversation and lead their healing. And I'm there to guide them or to assist them.
What do you think is one of the biggest challenges that your clients face? Do you see a theme? Do you see something that you go, oh, here we are again with this same hang up or same mountain to climb? Is there one or two areas that you think there seems to be a theme or a connection that the individuals have the biggest challenge kind of moving beyond?
I think the things that I've experienced is a lack of confidence because they've been in a negative situation for how long. And so it's kind of beat up on their confidence. And so that's why, on my website, you'll see that one of my missions is to help people reconnect with their inner strength, their inner source, which is their confidence, and remember who they are.
It's interesting because I was thinking about confidence the other day. There's a young person that I know, and she really struggles with that self-confidence and thinking she's good enough or pretty enough or whatever enough. How do you help someone with that? I was really thinking gosh, Shelly and I need to talk to her about confidence and what is it that keeps us from having that confidence, or how can we get some of that back in our lives when we've lost confidence, especially because of trauma or something that's happened in our lives?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I think the first thing that, you could help somebody do is help them remember something that they did when they felt that made them feel confident in the past. So something they've done in the past where they felt good about what they did, they felt confident and assured in what they were doing. And then you kind of walk them forward from that, and let them, it's a matter of that individual really discussing with you kind of what they feel is holding them back, why they think they're not confident. And then also learning how to listen to themselves and not necessarily pay attention to the social, all the social things that get in the way. And there's a lot of it right now. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to say, especially for women, because society over the years has kind of encouraged women to not seek out to their full ability what they're capable of doing, who they're capable of loving, and allowing themselves to really receive as well as give. Mm-hmm. And I think that also gets in the way of a woman's confidence too.
Do you think by having the women, because we're just for the sake of this conversation, do you think having the women do something that goes outside their box, like do an event or something that they're scared to do? Do you think it's facing a fear? What would you think that might do for someone? You know what I mean? Like,
I think it depends.
To give them, the opportunity to say, wow, I really can do that. Or do you think that would help them with their confidence?
Sure. I think that's a great question. And I think it's individual based. Everybody faces things in a different way. And even though we all have fears, some fears are more anxiety producing. Mm-hmm. So I think in order to get someone or to encourage or empower somebody to step out of their comfort zone, you really have to do it in small steps and not push them, but provide them an opportunity to explore.
Mm. So I have this thought that keeps coming up. So I want to ask you, what about that negative voice in our head? Shelly and I talk a lot about that. It talks to us all the time. We're trying to ignore it. Mm-hmm. What do you say to people that just have that, like, it's the ruler, it's the captain. It's the one that's driving. Yeah. It's that negative voice. How the heck do we turn the volume down on that thing?
Yeah. Yeah. Great question. And it's so interesting because I was listening to another podcast the other day, and the gentleman that was being interviewed talked about having an Einstein and a Frankenstein in their head. So obviously the Einstein is the one, I have the idea, I'm going to go do this, I feel confident. And the Frankenstein is the one, that tends to overrule. And that's where my suggestion is to reframe your thought. Okay, so give me an example of a thought that kind of gets in your way.
Like for me specifically, a negative thought. Oh my gosh. Mm-hmm. I mean,
well, example, when you were writing your book.
Yeah, and I'll just say, like, it's not ready. It's not ready, Eva. Eva, you need a little bit more time. Mm-hmm. Or you're almost there. Or if you just put a little bit more time in, it's going to be that much better. Or there's no rush. You've got plenty of time. Why are you trying to rush this thing when it's been 3 years?
Right. So
they're not like saying you suck necessarily.
No, you're not.
But it's that
but
kind
you're procrastinating. Yeah.
It's that kind of talk there.
So my question to you then is that talk, because I think we need to go a little further, and is that talk procrastination or is it fear? Which may be one and the same. But when you dig a little bit deeper and ask yourself why you keep thinking that thought, why is that thought coming up for you? What is it that is going to serve you if you don't? How is it going to serve you if you hold off writing the book or if you slow down?
Well, it doesn't. I just kept pushing forward. I just kept doing it anyway, but that doesn't mean the thought wasn't there every day,
right.
Along the way.
I think Yeah, I think the thoughts are always there. And what I've learned over the years and through my experience with personal development is we all have a protective brain, and our initial reaction oftentimes is to protect ourselves.
Mm.
And I think when we can learn to move from our head to our heart, those thoughts are going to quiet down. And the thought that we really want to follow is going to come ahead, is going to be out in the forefront. And so it's natural, it's very natural to have those thoughts because, initially we want to protect ourselves. We want to protect ourselves from rejection. We want to protect ourselves from being hurt. We want to protect ourselves from all of those things that kind of scare us. The commitment of, oh, if I follow through with this, then what am I going to have to do or keep up with? Or will I have to write another book? Am I ready for all of that? So initially, I think, you see the thought, you say, okay, I see you, I recognize you, I hear you, but I'm okay. I don't need the protection right now. And I'm just going to keep pushing through.
That's great. Well, I cannot believe how quick time goes by. Do you have any final thoughts for us, Vicki, before we close out?
I think the most important thing is to remember that oftentimes it is the thoughts that keep us from doing what we want to do and living the life we want to live. And if we can learn to acknowledge those thoughts and to know that they're there to keep us safe and go with the other thought, the one that's really pushing us forward, I think then we'll finally figure out how to live a life that feels good to us.
Well, this has been really helpful. And where will people be able to find you, especially if they'd like some of your coaching? You're amazing.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. This has been so wonderful. I've really enjoyed this and hope we can chat again sometimes.
Yes,
absolutely.
I would love that. So you can find me on Facebook. I'm at facebook.com, Achieve Your Dreams Coaching. I'm also on Instagram at Achieving the Next Step. And then you can find me on my webpage at www.vickymatullo.com. And also, I wanted to let your listeners know that I am giving away a 3-month coaching session in the next week for anyone that might be interested. And they can reach me by emailing me at vsm@achieveyrdreams.com. And in the subject line, just put 3-month coaching session. And they'll be entered in a drawing. And the person that wins that, I'll be contacting them.
What
the first of next week.
Great idea. And so nice of you. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
Well, you hang on. I'm going to close this out, but hang on and stay with us. Okay. Thank you so much, Vicki.
Sure thing. Yep.
If you'd like to email us or ask us a question, we're at settolovepodcast.com at gmail.com. We're also at settolove.com. We're here weekday mornings, 8:30. So thankful for all of our viewers. Please hit the bell. And thanks again for being here this morning. Love you, friend.
Love you too.